We are going to make beautiful maple pecan tart served with bourbon cream. This is a homage to my Canadian brothers and sisters, but I'm riffing that off of a treacle tart, which is old school British. It's a really lovely autumn, fall, Thanksgiving dessert. So Canada wouldn't be Canada without maple syrup, which is an incredibly luxurious commodity. I'm going to empty this bottle into a pan, 250 mils. We're going to go 50 grams of butter, and I'm just going to grate in a little thumb-sized piece of ginger. You get a little bit of heat from that and fragrance, which I love. That goes into our butter. Have a little look in this pan. I'm just going to bring that to a little boil or a simmer for a couple of minutes. I'm going to go in with some vanilla. You could use extract, but I have a vanilla pod here. So I'm going to scrape out the seeds, and of course vanilla, maple syrup, pecans, ginger. These are beautiful flavors. I'm just going to use a little whisk to mix in that vanilla. The smells, indulgent treat, but how amazing. So look, what we're going to do is I'm going to put a little swipe of the zest of maybe half an orange. I'm going to use some apple as well. Just going to coarsely grate the apple. And this just gives it a nice sweetness and flavor. And those little gratings of apple just kind of give a bit of structure to the tart. So I'm going to turn the heat off now. And I'm going to go in with 175 grams of breadcrumbs, just stale bread. And of course, if it's a half decent bread, that will make a difference. We're going to go in with pecans and just crush it in our hands. I'll stir this up. So now we've mixed all of this up. That is our filling, okay? I want to put this into a pastry shell. This is short crust sweet pastry that I've homemade. If you want to know how I made this and you want my principles on making your own pastry, hit the I button. Super simple, and it's a really rewarding, beautiful, beautiful product. So we're going to scrape all of this into here, and then we can get my nuts back on top and finish this beautiful dessert. I'm just going to push this down like this, right into the corners, and then my nuts are just going to get sprinkled on top. So just poke the nuts so they're half dunked. And then, look at that, thyme. There's a little cheeky amount of maple syrup that I might have wasted. Just put the maple syrup around the thyme and then just pinch it on top, and you'll get glazed thyme tips. It's going to make people really, really happy. So there you go. Very, very nice. This goes in the oven for about 25 minutes at 180, and it is looking mighty fine. Look at that. A beautiful Canadian nod to a fantastic treacle tart. Okay, right, while that chills out, I'm gonna add some lovely creme fraiche. You've got a freshness and a sourness there that's beautiful, and I want to just rift it and loosen it with bourbon. It's got barrel, it's got age, it's got kind of orange and gorgeous sort of autumnal flavors. I'm just going to loosen that creme fraiche with as much of that as you like. You can make it boozy, you can make it subtle. So, bit of tart, boozy cream. Boozy cream, bit of tart. Gorgeous. What I quite like to do is just sort of put your cream on here, that beautiful bourbon cream in there. Grab a little bit of clementine if you can, and just put a little bit of fresh zest over the top here. Now, it's the best bit. Let's have a little portion. So let's see how we get on. Nice little wedge. Oh yeah. Absolutely gorgeous. Come on, look at that. You can see how flaky and crumbly that pastry is. And of course, the inside is just sumptuous and gorgeous. So on the plate we go with a nice thwap of cream. So there you go, lovely people. Fantastic maple and pecan tart with bourbon cream. So good. Homage to my Canadian brothers and sisters. So happy Canadian Thanksgiving. And if it's not Thanksgiving, and if it's not winter, it don't matter, because it's gorgeous no matter what the weather. Take care. We're gonna make the most delicious pumpkin pie. I cannot wait to share this recipe with you. It's the perfect time of year, autumn, winter, Christmas time, of course Thanksgiving. Pumpkin pie made famous by America, Canada. They love it, and actually I love it too. So this is what you call a delicate pumpkin, but you can also use squashes. Butternut squash is a really easy one to get in supermarkets. Normally in America and Canada, they often would buy this, pureed pumpkin in a tin. This is convenient, but the flavor from this is much better. So how do we cook this? It's really easy. Turn the oven on to 180 degrees Celsius, 350 Fahrenheit. Take yourself a little fork, give it a little prick, just a couple of times, and literally chuck the pumpkin in there, close the door, and let it cook for an hour and a half to 2 hours. Inside, it will go like nice and soft and gorgeous. The outside will be kind of burnt, it doesn't matter. So if you have a look at these are completely cooked now and cooling down. So I want to give you a really simple recipe and method for a classic sweet short crust pastry. The classic bit is half fat to flour. Okay, so we have 150 grams of fat, butter, nice butter. We've got 300 grams of plain flour. We're going to give it a little pinch of salt. I'm going to sweeten it just lightly with 50 grams of icing sugar. Now I want to accent it with just a little bit of orange. Orange and pumpkin, really good friends. So I'm going to take a little fine grater like this and just give it a little rub, and it smells amazing already. So we've got that there. Use your fingers, and then all we're going to do is just rub the flour and the butter together, and it just takes like a minute and a half. So now we're going to make a little well in the middle, and I'm going to steal 1 egg here. Nice little free-range egg. Crack that in there, no shell, and I'll just take a little fork and I'll just whisk this up. And once you've done that, we're just going to stir it in to the pastry like that. I don't want to be kneading it like bread because that's just going to make it firm and hard. We don't want that. So look, you can see it's just coming together. It's just beautiful. Now, you could wrap that up and you can put that in the fridge and let it relax. Absolutely. Fantastic. I'm actually not going to do that today because I'm going to cheat and I'm going to get on with it just to show you that you can. You would normally, once you've let it rest, sort of roll it out with a rolling pin, bit of flour. You can do all that. I want to show you that it can even be simpler, right? I'm going to just take a little bit of this pastry, slice it, and then press it into this mold like this, right? Probably slice it about just under 1 centimetre thick. And this is very simple. I'm just using my fingers to press out and join these little slices and push it up the edge. And it might not be perfect, but I like all the little notches, all the little imperfections. I like the fact that we're not trimming off the edges, okay? So that's that, right? Super easy. I can smell the orange. It's gonna be amazing. So that bit is done. I wanna use this pumpkin and I wanna puree it and get it really, really smooth. If I just cut this in half, you can see that it's soft. And if we get in there, look at the color. I mean, it's extraordinary. Just take a little bowl and get the seeds out. These seeds, by the way, you can just kind of wash them off, toss them in a bit of oil, salt and pepper, and roast them. But what we want is the flesh. We don't want the skin and we don't want the seeds. So we'll remove those. Right, let's get on with this. So what I'm gonna do is get my food processor, and we want 400 grams of beautiful cooked pumpkin in there. Then I'm gonna add 175 grams of golden caster sugar in, and 100 milliliters of double cream goes in as well. So we've now taken pumpkin that is traditionally sort of savory, and it's now in the world of sweet. And we can go further with that delicious sweetness with a little help from some friends here. First up, let's start with vanilla. So I'm gonna go 3 teaspoons of vanilla paste. I'm then gonna use 3/4 of a level teaspoon of cinnamon. Don't go mad, right? Cinnamon's quite powerful. Then I'm gonna go for half a teaspoon of ground ginger. This is allspice. I'm just gonna go for 1/4 of an allspice. And then another great one, nutmeg. Just take that fine grater again and just do 20 little gratings. This is really gonna make this delicious. Now, 3 eggs. So we're gonna split the eggs 2 ways. So we are gonna just crack the egg and put the egg whites into a nice large bowl that we can whisk these eggs, and then keep these lovely yolks here. Okay, so this is gonna go into my machine. Look at that colour. Okay, while that's doing its magic, a nice little pinch of salt, and just whisk it up until it's nice and stiff. And you know when it's stiff, when you can hold it over your head and nothing happens. Woohoo! Okay, we're good to go. We have our lovely cake mix. And we'll pour that into here. Look at the colour. Now we want to fold in the egg whites. So from the outside to the inside. So really go around the rim and just get all of those bits of egg whites. And even though it's not cooked, I can smell all the spices. Look at that. Okay, so in this recipe, we are not going to bake this pastry case blind, right? We're going to have it raw, we're going to have it raw, and we're going to cook it in the oven. So get your oven preheated to 180 degrees Celsius, which is 350 Fahrenheit. Look at that, heavenly. Very importantly, we're going to put this beautiful pie, look at that, right? That's going to go right on the bottom of the oven, right? I know that's a wood oven, ignore that. In your oven, put it on the bottom, not on a shelf, on the bottom. That way you're going to get max temperature under that pastry. We're going to cook it for around 45 minutes, and that's going to be utterly delicious. What's going to happen is this will souffle up a little bit, and it will look amazing. As it cools down, it will just sag, and it might even crack, and it's all going to be gorgeous. And then I'm going to show you how to serve it with the most delicious pecan nuts that we're going to caramelize in maple syrup. Right, let's cook this. So, it smells amazing. Okay, so this has had, I'd say, just under 50 minutes. Look at that. Such a lovely rustic pumpkin pie. Look at the colour. Really, really autumnal. Smells amazing. Okay, so now what we want to do is let that cool down so you can slice it beautifully. I like to do that onto a little cake rack like this. Look at that. Right, so let that cool down. And now I want to show you how to make the most incredible praline of pecan nuts with maple syrup. I'm going to get a pan on. So maple syrup, you know, I'm always thinking about Canada, North America. I'm thinking about, you know, all those gorgeous flavors, pumpkin. Pecan is a really nice nut to play with. Have a little look at this. Of course you can do other nuts, but it just feels a little bit more right to use pecan nuts. Delicious. So 4 or 5 tablespoons of lovely maple syrup goes in. We're going to bring that to a boil. And then as it boils, it is going to start to caramelize a bit more and thicken a little bit more. Now, when you do that, it goes a little bit darker. You're concentrating the flavor more. But also, this is currently a syrup, but when we're kind of evaporating sort of moisture from this, you're going to make basically like a little caramel that's hard, crunchy. So I'm going to put a couple of handfuls of the pecans into here and cook that into them like this. And just for like a minute or two, we're going to reduce this down so it's a nice caramel. Get a tray, get some greaseproof paper, just have a little look. You see how dark that's got? So when you're doing anything around the world of caramel, do not have kids running around, right? It is hotter than boiling water, okay? So we'll use a metal spoon, not a plastic one. And while it's hot, we'll move it around like this. And it will cool down pretty quickly. And as it cools, because you've reduced the syrup, it will cool like hard. So look, let that cool down. I've got a nice little kind of, I think, a nice vibe to have with this pie. I'm going to take that orange that we use the zest for the pastry, and I've got here some cranberry sauce. So what I'll do is just squeeze in the juice of half of that orange and just let it down, right? And I think this is really nice to have on the side with the cream and almost ripple it through. It's going to be a good thing. So that's going to cool down. I'm going to wash this up, and then we're going to serve up. While that's chilling, how about giving us a little bit of love? Click the like button and even subscribe. Oh, and remember to turn on that notification bell so you know what's happening. Now, back to the recipe. So this has cooled down nicely. A little tip, so if you get a bowl that's nice and sturdy, and in theory, if I put that on there like that, that falls off like that, very dramatic. So we can take that off and remove this. And then what I can do is pop this on the board and get my knife just underneath that little bit of the mold like that. Carefully run your knife around the base and carefully just move it out so it's all lovely and protect it. Look how lovely that tart looks. It's a really nice rustic tart. I love it. I love its imperfections. I love the little ridges. I love the little cracks. It feels really, really hearty. Smells amazing. So one thing to go with this is I've got some double cream here that I've taken the liberty to just whip. I'll put some in there like that, and then a little bit of that orange and cranberry sauce. So I'm just going to fold that through. It's going to be good. So now it comes on to our little brittle here. So this is nice and cool, and you can see that it's turned into kind of like a giant thing. So it's still a little bit warm. When that gets cold, that'll snap. So you can just break this off. And then what you can do over here is just chop it up. That's sensational. So we've got pecan chunks, we've got pecan brittle, we've got our lovely cranberry and cream ripple. And then here, we've got that amazing pumpkin pie. Straight into the middle, all the way down. Let's do a nice little slice. Oh, it's pretty good. So there you go, beautiful. And then we can take a few of these beautiful bits of caramelized pecan here. And look, we've got the brittle here, that can just go to the side, look at that. Oh. And then we've got our little ripple of cream and cranberry. Right, here we go. Little quiet moment in my favorite place. Crumbly pastry, soft, velvety, fluffy pumpkin pie filling. Just so many textures, so good. So guys, what are you waiting for? Homemade pumpkin pie, spiced up, go on. Have a go. So Christmas would not be Christmas without an amazing dessert. So first up, I want 350 grams of good quality chocolate, about 70% cocoa solids. Just grab the pack and give it a spank. Now, I've got a bowl here, which is sitting over a pan of water. I've brought it to boil, and I've turned it off. The chocolate goes in. So this is 250 grams of really good quality butter. I want to take out a nice little sort of 25 grams of that, put it into the tin here. And then the rest of that butter, about 225 grams, goes onto the chocolate, and I'm going to put a pinch of salt in. That gorgeous butter and chocolate will start to melt. Just give it a mix every 1 minute. Then, in the bowl of a mixing machine, I'm going to add 250 grams of white caster sugar, followed by 5 beautiful free-range eggs, no shell, and then just whisk it up for about 5 minutes until it's like tripled in size. I need a solid baking tin. This is 25 centimetres. Butter your tin and line the base with greaseproof paper. Ah, silence. So, you can see that's tripled in size, it's creamy, it's light. Get that chocolate and add it to the bowl. And then put this back down on a medium speed. The colour's amazing. So once that's mixed up, oh my Lord, we're then going to transport that to our baking tin. Chocolate heaven. Place the tin in a tray. Get it in a nice low oven at 120 degrees Celsius or 250 Fahrenheit. Fill the tray about halfway with boiling water for a beautifully gentle bake and cook for 40 minutes. I'm going to make a little reduction of clementine juice. So just half, about 15 clementines. Simply squeeze this into a pan, do it through a sieve, and then you don't get any kind of bits. Let that reduce down on a low heat for 20 minutes or until syrupy. You might think, is that worth all the fuss? And I'm going to tell you, yes. Do not be tempted to lick it, touch it, taste it in any way, shape or form, because it's hot. Now is the time to get this beautiful dessert out of the oven. So be very careful. Let the torte cool down for an hour in the tin. This simple technique will give your cake a divine silky texture. It's cooled down for an hour. Get yourself a little knife and just run the knife around the very top part of the side. And then get something round, a little cake plate, a board, something nice like that. Hold it confidently, grab it, and twist it, and give it a little shuffle. Hopefully, it's all worked out beautifully. Look at that. We'll take a nice little portion. You don't need a massive chunk. It's so rich, so dense and delicious. And let's get some of that beautiful syrup and just kind of scatter it around. Right, let's have a little try. Oh my Lord. utterly chocolatey, and that little hit of clementine is just so good at this time of year. All my guests at my little Christmas party are gonna go mad for this. Perfect. Who wants some chocolate?
Dad, I want a tiny bit.
You are gonna love this stuff.
Magnet.